Look, I know this is my second video on a con in a row, but I promise this isn't becoming a con recap channel. It just ended up being topical twice in a row, so I hope you enjoy. Heyo everyone, B should be barking here. So DenFur happened this past weekend, and wow, there's a lot of drama surrounding this year. So much so that the con's hotel was trending on Twitter. I know it's called X now, but I'm not calling it that. Now, of course, obligatory Twitter exaggerates everything negative. However, the fact that the hotel, the Sheraton by the way, was trending means that, yeah. So what exactly happened? Was the con itself bad, or did the hotel cause some major problems outside of the con? Well, let's talk about that, shall we? So of course, a lot of the problems we're gonna discuss in this video have to do with the hotel, but how did the con go as a whole? Now, it goes without saying, I didn't attend DenFur, so obviously I can't know firsthand how the con went, but it seems like for the most part, outside of the hotel problems we're gonna talk about today, the con went pretty okay. It seems like a lot of the negative response was because of the hotel staff, the placement of the rooms, and the other event that was happening that weekend. There were a couple of non-hotel problems with the con that happened that weekend that I'm not going to discuss in this video, but I'm sure someone who attended will make a video or at least a post about it. So without further ado, let's dive on in. DenFur's hotel, much like a lot of different cons, is booked in the Sheraton via a contract. Fun fact actually, Furlandia in Portland, the con I attended, was also in a Sheraton. And while we had a good time and friendly staff, DenFur was, yeah, we'll get into that. What most cons will do is get a yearly contract with the hotel that says something along the lines of, hey, if you provide us with this room block and or use of your conference rooms, we'll provide you with X amount of money to the hotel. Usually cons will pay most if not all of this by the end of the weekend, using the rooms that furries stay in to cover the cost of the owed amount in the contract. This in turn guarantees the hotel has a weekend of business and the furries have somewhere to stay and see their friends. Win-win. Now sometimes when cons get really comfy and settled in, they'll make multi-year contracts, and more on that later. But for now, let's talk about those guaranteed room blocks I hinted at earlier. The hotels will offer discounted rooms within this block to con goers as part of the contract. Usually the hotel block is just that, a block. This is to ensure that when furries have their loud pumping parties, it has minimal impact on the hotel residents that aren't part of this con. It sounded like DenFur didn't have a hotel block of reserved room for furries, and it was a bit more of a hotel birdshot, as the reserved rooms for the furries were scattered throughout the entire hotel, with non-con goers being strewn in rooms throughout. I shouldn't say non-con goers, as apparently they were staying there for a nearby Christian convention. 0 stars! The hotel staff checked us in under a different reservation. We go to our room, which we had to climb 10 flights of stairs because they are hosting a sex cat convention where the elevators were not able to access. We get in our room and leave for dinner. We climbed 10 flights yet again just to get to our room, and they locked us out and we had to climb back down the stairs to prove our identity. This is really hard to read. Just to get to our room and they locked us out and we had to climb back down the stairs to prove our identity. The front desk gave us 0 compassion. I think they meant compensation for what they put us through. 0 compassion. We had to climb 10 flights of stairs all due to their own mistakes. So they issue us new keys and we climb back up 10 flights, and guess what? We are still locked out. And guess what? 0 empathy, 0 customer service. I called to cancel my reservation and is asking for a full refund. If the front desk is any indication of how they train their employees, I'm sure canceling won't be easy either. I'm fuming. I will make sure to not ever stay here again. Rooms 1, services 1, location 1. Now, I doubt this review was actually a contributor to the Con of Christ, but I still found it really funny. But yeah, a ton of furries were scattered throughout, which meant that non-furries were stashed next to furries, which means that when furries were trying to party, non-furries were complaining, which means hotel staff was unhappy and kept shutting those parties down. Now, one of these posts complaining was kind of dumb, because it was somebody saying their party got shut down, but this was on the Thursday before the con officially started. And on top of that, they had a whole ass DJ set up in the corner. You gotta wait on the super loud parties until the con's official start, folks. That being said, this wasn't the only party shut down, and that seemed to be the theme of the weekend. Now look, I get it. Normally you should be courteous of the people in the rooms next to you. However, this is an absolute failure on the con's part, because had they stashed all the furries together in a tight part of the hotel, this almost certainly wouldn't have happened, or would have happened to a much less degree. Furries wait all year to meet up with their friends and party for the weekend, so to have nearly all of these parties shut down by hotel staff really sucks, and is a quick way to have the con die. Now, shutting down the room parties wasn't all that happened involving hotel staff. There was this post by Nicolas Cage saying that the hotel staff came and kicked them out of the Headless Lounge because they thought they were throwing a party. This was a joke though, this didn't happen. What did happen, however, is multiple reports of Sheraton staff being overly rude to furries all over the con space as well as the hotel area as a whole. It was wild how much of a colossal letdown the staff was for this con. You would think that you'd want to treat an event that brings a good majority of your business for that month with the utmost respect and hospitality, and it sounds like this simply wasn't the case. There was also apparently a lost car, but the posts on that have been deleted as the car was eventually found. The TLDR was the valet parking apparently just misplaced the car, which would have been the cherry on top had had the car not been located. The real cherry on top is the bed bugs that some people found in their bed as they were leaving. So, yeah, if you're watching this and you attend to DenFur, I guess check for bed bugs ASAP. So the million-dollar question, is DenFur to blame? I mean, it is their hotel space, and they did make the contract, so that puts them at fault, right? Well, not exactly. I don't think it's entirely fair to blame the con on this one. A lot of the problems of this con were hotel-focused, and not to do with happenings on the con floor. DenFur in no way could have predicted this was gonna happen, and there's not much that a FurCon staff can do to intervene with the hotel's rules and policies. This all happened after the con started, and it's not like DenFur could just up and move as soon as the issues started. Now, of course, the logical solution is to just go elsewhere for next year, right? Well, bad news about that one. It appears the con is locked in a contract signed last year that lasts until 2026. Now, we've discussed contracts and breaking them in the COVID video, but to sum it up, breaking the contract and looking elsewhere for a new space isn't really a feasible option until the contract is up. Breaking a contract like this would almost certainly kill the con for good due to the fees. So unfortunately, it looks like DenFur's stuck at the Sheraton, at least until 2026. To wrap this video all up in a neat little bow, let's look at some of the memes that came out of this, shall we? Sheraton downtown DenFur staff responding to a noise complaint in the lobby bathroom. They thought a party was going on. There's a lot of memes that are like this where it's like, oh, smallest minuscule thing, immediate police response. Opens chips in room. Now all of Sheraton's staff knows you're here. It seems that DenFur at the Sheraton has just been this, the Sheraton. Furries trying to have a good time but accidentally making their music a wow, that's a big number. 1/10 millionth. 1/10 millionth decibel too high. Jesus, Fiona. DenFur hotel staff. Renting out a house with 2 bedrooms, 1 bath. $1,000. No dogs, no students, no parties, no animals, no young unmarried couples who are just gonna fight and break up and then leave a mess. No nothing! As a matter of fact, I don't even want to rent it anymore. All y'all could go to hell. No cap, I was in the lobby at the DenFur hotel pooping and I accidentally laughed at a TikTok too loud and the hotel staff flashbanged my stall because they thought it was a party. So yeah, that was DenFur's 2023 Hotel from Hell. I'm gonna call Gordon Ramsay on this one. I think it's important to end with this note. The hotel failed the con. The con as a whole ran for the most part just fine. Now sure, the con definitely had its issues. All cons do. However, people who went still managed to have a good time in the way of getting to see their friends and hanging out, and making new memories with fellow furries. People had fun outside of the convention and even on the con floor, and had fun making memes and TikToks about Sheraton's staff. Sometimes people use humor to cope with bad situations, and that stuff makes this easier to look back on. That being said, I really hope DenFur 2024 has a much better experience with the Sheraton staff, as something like this can really destroy a con. Also, can we stop calling every single con Rainforest 2.0?